Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you very much for joining me for another amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs. This is a session that is recorded for the African Father in America podcast on YouTube and also on Clubhouse. My name is Simon Javan Okello. I am in Seattle, Washington, and I am so lucky that you are all choosing to spend some time with me today so that we can dive deeper into this South Sudanese proverb. I am just setting up my Clubhouse room and also preparing the YouTube session here so that we can go deeper and learn about a few things. My hope is that today we can learn. Our topic is going to be around patience. A lot of the time we find ourselves, being frustrated, maybe sometimes even being frustrated so easily. And today's proverb from South Sudan is going to, give us a bit of wisdom when it comes to, the issue of patience. This proverb says, cows are born with ears. Later, they grow horns. I want to pin this on top of the Clubhouse room so that everyone who is on Clubhouse can also, see the link to the YouTube live stream where I am going to be talking just a little more about this proverb and also sharing the 3 lessons that you can take away from our conversation today. JP, brother, thank you for joining me. I hope you are doing well. I am going to pin the link to this conversation here in just a moment. It's always a joy being here for the Daily African Proverbs. And today's proverb from South Sudan says, cows are born with ears. Cows are born with ears. Later on, they grow horns. And, learning how to be patient is a skill that can benefit everyone, not just your community, your family, even yourself. The more you learn how to be patient, the more you can handle many things. You can handle waiting on some of your greatest ideas to take years. For example, for me, I just recently released a book called Rooted in Love, which took 6 years to work on. And it took the entire village, to help me make it possible. So when we look at today's proverb, we learn that, number one, we need to understand that some things take time, and it's okay to take a step back and assess the situation before we make choices or decisions. A lot of the time we feel that I need to be like so and so, instead of understanding that even the cow had ears before it grew horns, we just want to have our horns, immediately. So the second thing that we learn here is don't be so hard on yourself, but instead be mindful of your thoughts and actions. This is the second thing that I noted down as what I learned, what I feel that we should take away from our conversation today, that don't be so hard on yourself, but instead be mindful of your thoughts and actions. And then the last thing that I wrote, that I felt that, we could all learn a little bit from when it comes to this proverb, is that embrace the journey by practicing self-compassion and finding ways to distract yourself from impatience, because impatience is there, according to this proverb, you know, even though cows are born with ears, at some point, it's not said how soon, with this proverb, at some point, the cow grew the horns, and so no matter what you do, whether you push it, maybe you can realize what you wanted sooner than others. But what if you embraced the process and you enjoyed the journey? You might have a little more story to tell. So those are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share as we begin our session here for the Daily African Proverbs. For me to make sure that I can actually, that I'm communicating, I just want to invite you, Chef. I want to invite you, Ghislaine and Christine, to join me on stage, and Karen and Brother, join me on stage if you can. I want to engage with some of you here. Typically, we host this Daily African Proverbs from Monday to Friday. And, we choose one African proverb that we dissect and gain some wisdom from it. And, there's another African proverb that says, wisdom is like fire, people take it from each other. So that's why whenever I share, I also want to hear what people have to say about this proverb. When you look at the topic of this room on Clubhouse specifically, what are the values of patience? These are some of the words of wisdom, and through this proverb we are discussing from South Sudan, my hope is that when we live with more than what I just shared. So maybe we should just hear from Christine briefly. Just introduce yourself, share with us where you're joining us from, and also what comes to your mind when you hear this proverb from South Sudan that says, cows are born with ears, later they grow horns. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, good morning, Simon. I'm Christine. I am currently in Florida, Clearwater, and I was born I was born in Haiti, raised between Haiti and Florida. And I'm also background from Benin. I travel a lot to Benin. I got engaged in Benin. I have a fiance from Nigeria. So when I heard that, it was very funny to me because I was like, wait a minute, cows was born with ears. I didn't know that. I don't know if it's a true thing. Is it a true thing, or is it just a funny thing? Is it a real thing? Because I don't know.
It is a real thing. Yeah, if you grew up with cows, there's no cow that is born with horns, the cow is born with ears, just like us. When we are born with ears, but then later on, the cows grow horns. They have horns that they can do very many things with, but we don't. So it's a true thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. It was just I was really looking at it on a literal way. I wasn't really going deeper into the proverb. I was still stuck in the process of the physical thing. But patience is, for me, when I'm using patience in something, for example, in relationship, I always think of mortgage. I always think a mortgage is 30 years. And so whenever I think about something in the long term, and I'm like, if this is going to be 30 years, there's no reason for me to rush it. With my fiance, we have ups and downs sometimes. And the first thing that came to my head, instead of, just give up, is like, okay, we gonna be together for a lifetime. That's the goal. That's what we decided to do. So there's no reason for me to rush perfection. There's no reason for me to rush and just give up. I mean, it's like I didn't give up on my life. I didn't give up on myself. And I've had hard time with myself. I've had good times with myself because I'm here to stay for a lifetime. So I see things like that. If it's there for a lifetime, if you have your business and it's your passion, just think of it that way. If you're gonna spend your whole life with that thing, in that thing, honestly, there's no reason to rush it. And I always feel like I'm gonna live a long life. So because of that, I embark in a lot of different journey. I learn different things, and I'm one of those kind of people, when I'm passionate about something, I get obsessed with it. But it doesn't matter to me, because it's like I can grow these things and look at it or do something else. I see life as a long journey. Therefore, no, therefore I don't really care about um rushing or not rushing. It just, I see it as it comes. Some things are going to be faster than others, some things are going to be slower than others. At the end of the day, I just see life as a journey and I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think it takes work to get to where you are, Christine. And I just I feel that you've done quite a bit of work to get to a place where you've learned patience, and you're at a place where patience is helping you, change your life and make your life better, and be, and just be more grounded and be more hopeful. I think if you're patient, you can be even more hopeful. Don't you think, Christine?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. When you say grounded, I was like, yeah, that's what it is, grounded. Because yeah, it's like, where am I going? I'm here. Yes, definitely. It makes you more grounded. What was the other word you used? Um,
Hopeful, hopeful.
hopeful. Hopeful, yeah, because you have time. And I don't, one thing I don't like when people say, you don't know when you're gonna die. Well, if I die, I'm still alive. So it's like, eh, enjoy enjoy the moment, enjoy the presence, enjoy what you're doing now. Even if you did die, so what? It's like you die now, your body died. I just see it as infinity. Like life is so like there's no limit to how long you are in existence. So I think people rush most likely when they feel like they're running out of time. But are we ever running out of time, really? Like, what is time? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question. What is time? If you can always ask yourself that question, I think you can be more aware that time is fleeting, like it's almost an illusion, and that you should just be present in this moment as much as you can. Anyhow, thank you again, Christine. We are talking about the values of patience, and we are exploring this through this amazing African proverb from South Sudan. And the proverb says, cows are born with ears, later they grow horns. Whenever we come here for the daily African proverbs, we pick these proverbs and gain some wisdom from them. And so today I noted three things that I felt that we could pick up from today's conversation. Christine has shared her thoughts as well. And now we want to hear from Brother. But before we go to Brother, I just want to encourage you all who are here with us on Clubhouse. Please make sure you are pinging in about 5 people to join us for this conversation. The best way you can do that is to tap the share button and invite people. Just tap 5 people and then come back to our conversation. And then if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Clubhouse actually, and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I urge you to do that. I am actually live streaming this conversation right now. I see that Mala is there with us, and M. Jewel is also there with us. I just appreciate you all who are helping create this little community, this little village. So Brother, share with us where you're joining us from and what today's proverb means to you. Thank you so much.
Peace and blessings, family. This is Brother Earth. I'm calling from North Carolina territory, and it's always an honor to be, on the stage amongst the family, sharing the wisdom of the ancestors. And I kind of took this in a totally different context when I heard it. And I'm gonna quote two scriptures from the Piscean record, which is most commonly known as the Bible. And the first one is 1 Corinthians 13 and 11, and it says, "When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child, but when I grew up, I put away childish things." And then the second one I will read is Luke 12 and 48. It says, "To whom much is given, much is required." And to tie all that together in the more common terms, uh, the late great notorious B.I.G. peace and blessings be upon him. He said, "More money, more problems." And all that together to me says that as we continue to grow and evolve, is new challenges, obstacles, and situations that we just have to deal with or have to overcome. That's part of the territory as we evolve. I come in love and I leave in peace. I'm going to park my plane right there. That's Brother Earth.
Oh, thank you very much, Brother Earth, for your contributions as well. I deeply appreciate it. Let's hear now from Andrew. Andrew Barnett was my guest last week, and we had such an amazing conversation. I'm just grateful that you made the time to join us today. And Stephen at the bottom is one of my colleagues at One Vibe in Kenya. I would love to introduce you both. So if you'd follow each other, I think that would be great. And also, I just want to welcome Darwin and Abeni before I pass the microphone to you, Andrew, and our friends on YouTube. I just want to say thank you. I have added a lot of comments there with the 3 thoughts that I think we could take away from our conversation today. And I just want you to chime in as well. You can share your thoughts on the conversation, and we can include your voices that way. Thank you so much. Andrew, how are you doing, and what do you think about today's proverb?
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wow, this is very interesting. Just as brother stated, I have the same angle to this proverb. I look at it as when we're young, or let's even put it in the context of a business. When a business is young and an entrepreneur is young, they're really concerned about gaining as much information and knowledge. And so, in that sense, their ears are most important, right? Because you want to learn from the experiences of others. And as that business grows and becomes bigger, now you're at the point where you're really looking at protecting as you build. And so you grow horns. And so, as brother said, the Piscean Chronicles or the Bible talks about, in a multitude of counselors, there's safety. So you're protecting yourself as your business grows bigger. Now it's about protecting. How do you protect the assets that you currently have? And so you've taken that wisdom, you've applied it, you've grown, and now there's a stage where you're protecting what you build. And, so that's what I get from this proverb, and I'm complete for now.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. So, Andrew, what you're saying is that growth is inevitable. And once you grow, then you have to protect, some of the indicators of that growth, whether it's, the assets you've acquired, whether it's the knowledge you've acquired. Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct. You definitely have to do that. And, it's part of having wisdom, right? In the beginning, you don't have wisdom. And as you experience and as you learn from the experience of others, the best experience is learning from others by observing or from them telling you rather than you experiencing it yourself. And so, once you have that wisdom, it allows you to protect what you've built. So absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Andrew. Kari, how are you? Share with us your perspectives, where you're joining us from, and also, what this proverb means to you. The proverb is from South Sudan. It says, cows are born with ears, later they grow horns. Thank you for making the time.
Blessed morning to everyone. Great day. And as another said, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm reaching out from Connecticut. My parents are Guyanese. And so when I hear this, I was trying to remember what my mom used to say because, they always had these anecdotes, something similar. However, and I love the perspectives that the gentleman and the young lady that's gone gave. Um, But I think of my children, and I think of me when I was a child, like I spake as a child, right? And I did things as a child. And although it is most advantageous to have that experience by learning from what others have done. However, unfortunately, as I watch my children grow, you can't always protect them, just like my parents couldn't always protect me. And they had to get that experience. And sometimes we rush, we want to do things, we want that experience, we want to get out on our own. Our kids want to run, so they run until they fall, and they get back up again, and they fall and they get back up again, and they learn from experience. And sometimes all we can do is be there to protect them, because one day they will be able to do these things on their own. And so, though it is, like I said, most advantageous for them to learn by seeing and observing, sometimes you have to learn by doing. And so the process is not to be rushed, like baking a cake, like cooking. You can't rush anything. You can't rush any process. Anything rushed is never good. So I think when listening to your proverb, it really is about taking the time, understanding that, knowing that time is, what did my mother say? Time and tide wait for no one, right? It's going to keep going. It's going to keep moving. But you rushing to get there, it's not going to make it come any faster. So take your time, learn, because this is the time where you learn. You take your milk, because eventually you're going to eat the meat, and you're going to have to chew up the meat, spit out the bones, and figure it out. So I really enjoy the proverb, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I just love how you vividly describe, the process that you can't just skip steps. You have to go through, some of the most challenging processes in order for you to grow. And so, as you're describing it, it was just fascinating to listen. So thank you so much for being here with us today. I want to come to you, Fred, in just a moment. But first, I want to read a few comments on YouTube. Mala Harris says, I wonder if the proverb is to learn listening as a form of learning, defending and protecting ourselves first. Then horns form as we can handle the responsibility and consequences of horns. Yeah, something to think about. And then M. Jewel says, here are the basis of listening, and ears are the basis of listening, and horns are the development of what one has heard. Yeah, amazing perspectives. So think about those as well if you're on Clubhouse. Those are some of the thoughts coming from YouTube. I just want to welcome you all. Thank you for making the time, and thank you for supporting the Daily African Proverbs. I feel that some of you, I see you every day, and so you might think that I don't appreciate the time that you take every day out of your busy schedules, to come here and not only support and engage and do research. We are doing something beautiful, and I definitely can't do it on my own. So thank you really for being here, and for those who have been here consistently over the last few weeks, thank you so much. Now, as we continue, for those who are just joining us, we are discussing a proverb from South Sudan, and it says, "Cows are born with ears, later they grow horns." And from 6 to 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we always bring in everybody on stage. But after 6:30, we turn off hand raising. So this is a good time for you to, join us on stage if you're on Clubhouse. And then I want to encourage you, if you're on Clubhouse, please share the link to this conversation and invite people within Clubhouse and outside of Clubhouse, and also clip some of the nuggets from this conversation, on Twitter, and we are going to retweet it. Now we want to continue on with the conversation here. We want to hear from Fred. Fred, thank you again for your continued support. Share with us your perspectives on this proverb from South Sudan. What comes to your mind when you read, "Cows are born with ears, later they grow horns"?
Good morning, everyone. I'm calling from Ohio. Of course, I go to the symbolization of different words. But first, people will say they don't have a definition of time. So for me, time, the word time spelled backwards is emit. And emit is putting forth energy. Applying energy, being energy is energy. Projecting energy, vibes, vibrations, the whole aspect. Years ago, father figure of mine, the short version of the story was he taught me patience. And in the lesson, I came up with my own definition is patience is waiting, is learning not to wait. Also, learning to wait without looking at the clock. Just be. Don't even worry about it. Just things will evolve over time, which is energy. So when I look at this, cows are born with ears, later they grow horns. So the symbolization of cows is connection that actually reflects motherhood, nurturing, but it also looks at as the connection to the earth, your journey, the path you're taking. Look at the aspect of ears. The design of the ear is like that seashell, that spiral aspect, which is also connected to the sun, i.e., putting energy out. So that ear aspect is also listening to grow. Some people hear, some people listen. So as you are going through this journey, connection to the earth, as this cow, you taking in the listening to grow. Those horns, I've heard several people refer to the horns as protection. The horns also reflect power. So as you are connected to the earth, growing, taking in the energy of those elements around you, you taking in information and you're growing from it, and you're gaining power if you're patient. That's a natural aspect of life if you walk it as instructed. That's how I see that. Now you're the mic.
Wow, thank you, Fred, for breaking it down so beautifully and very clearly. So thank you. I appreciate that. I just feel that I learned so much just by being, around people like Fred. Now, Steve, I don't know if you want to speak today, but when I created this room, I added you and Stella as co-hosts because I just wanted both of you to be on stage today. I kind of tricked you guys into being on stage. So if you want to talk, feel free. If you don't want to talk, I just appreciate your presence, and Stella as well. So let me know. Just tap your mic, and the way you tap your mic is, Andrew, could you show Steve and Stella how to do it? Just on and off. Like that. Okay. So maybe Steve, you go ahead as usual. Share with us where you're joining us from, and also, what your thoughts are about today's proverb. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Stephen here. I'm joining from Kisumu, Kenya, and thank you, Simon, for inviting me and putting me on the stage today. My understanding of this proverb, I will depict it from a business point of view. A cows are born with ears, later they grow horns. I would refer and correlate this with the challenges that business goes through for it to develop to its stabilities. The horns to me refers the struggles that one endures for him to establish his business or any establishment that he or she is coming up with. And it also takes a lot of pain that the cow has to endure when the horns are growing, because the horns have to pierce through the flesh and the skin of this cow for it to grow out and sprout as long as the horns we are seeing in this picture. So to me, it's just the perseverance and the endurance that one has to take for his establishment to become stable. So that's my understanding with today's proverb. And back to you, Simon. Thank you all for listening. Steve, it's my name.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. I love your perspectives and how you looked at this proverb. So thank you so much. And we are going to go to you, Stella. How are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts about this proverb, Steve? And also, Steve, once you share, just mute yourself at the bottom right corner. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. My name is Stella Achar. I'm in Kenya. Today's proverb, when I looked at it, I was like, this one is really talking to me directly because I'm not a patient person. I always want things to happen there and then. And when you look at the proverb, it says, cows are born with ears and later they grow horns. So it has really spoken to me, and every day I keep planning to get patient, because sometimes I've realized that most of the time the things I'm really in a hurry to do or to get, they never work out, but later with time it unfolds, and I can clearly see the path that it was supposed to take. And yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stella. Yeah, patience is something that, even me, all of us struggle with it. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you very much for your contribution. Hey, Kay, how are you doing? And what are your thoughts about this proverb from South Sudan?
It's just what I need to hear today. I have 3 days, I think it was 3 days ago, I broke Lent and have been beating myself up about it ever since. And I woke up this morning ready to continue beating myself up about it. And that was not having patience with myself. And I was making matters worse. You fall off the horse, get back on. You don't need long discussions about how it happened, why it shouldn't have. Get back on. And I realized that all the time that I was being impatient with myself, I was miserable. And I had myself, in a bad energy. And so I blew that energy out this morning. And I was like, you're back on. God forgives you. Now you forgive yourself and get back on. So I just find that, impatience might be, uh, some people, revel in it. I'm thinking it might be a very negative thing, and that you might want to look at it more closely. And also, I think when you're impatient, you're whatever it is already happened or has not happened. But if you're impatient, it's a lack of hope, because You've already gone through whatever the situation is. And now you're seeing that it's not going to get better by staying in that energy or space of impatience. And to know that you just have the power to just change your mind and change the energy and press on. I'm very excited about that. And I'm going to have a good day.
That's wonderful. I love that. Yeah, I hope you have a good day. And I also know that I'm going to have a good day, So thank you so much. Daniel, how are you doing? I would love to, pass you the microphone so that you can share your perspectives in just a moment. But for now, I just want to quickly, welcome you all to the Daily African Proverbs. This session happens Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, live and direct on Clubhouse and also on YouTube. And this is an amazing session where our hope is that through our conversations, we can gain some African wisdom. And today I picked 3 things that I wanted us to take away with us. So those who are here earlier, I shared them, but I'll be sharing them again later towards the end of our conversation. So stay tuned. And also share the link to this conversation by going, if you're on Clubhouse, going to the second button on your far left. If you click that, you'll be able to share this conversation on Clubhouse and also on other platforms. And you can also ping in people who are here on Clubhouse. At the same time, if you want to join me on YouTube and subscribe and support my YouTube channel, you can go to the link at the very top of the room on Clubhouse. And thank you, Mala and M. Jewel and everybody else who are on YouTube with us right now. I really, really appreciate it. So as we continue on with our conversation, around this, South Sudanese proverb that says, cows are born with ears, later they grow horns. I just want to encourage you to connect with one another, because part of the things that I love when it comes to the Daily African Proverbs and the African Father in America podcast is that we are a little village, and we are building community. And my hope is that, besides being here consistently, supporting, I just want you to make sure you're also looking at each other's profile and connecting and, doing great things, one proverb at a time. So now I want to move on to Daniel. Daniel, thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts about this proverb from South Sudan? And share with us where you're joining us from as well.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Simon. I'm joining you from the UK, but I'm Portuguese. So it'll be interesting to see the take I grab and give in terms of the proverb itself. But I take it more on essence of when we're born in life, we are born with innocence and pureness in our hearts. But the more we gather forth, the more we oversteer and allow negativity and other people's limiting beliefs and thoughts interfere with our day-to-day actions, the more we'll become negative and then transpire to be duplication of the people we have around us and the society that we see. But if we keep ourselves within how we were born, with our ears, we'll be able more to listen than to actually judge and be like everyone else. I'm Daniel, I'm complete. I've landed my plane and I'm going to get my scooter. I'll be right back.
Thank you very much for being here and for sharing with us your perspectives. We'll go on to Elder. Elder, how are you doing today, and where are you joining us from? And also, what are your perspectives on today's proverb from South Sudan that says, cows are born with ears, later they grow horns? I suspect that Elder might be far away from his microphone. So we'll come to you, Nike. Nike, how are you doing? My name is Simon, and I'm just excited that you're here with us. share with us your perspectives on this proverb, and also share with us where you're joining us from.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can
Nice
you
to
hear
hear
me?
from you. Yes, I hear you very well.
Okay, my name is Nike from Lagos.
Thank you, Nike. My name is Simon Okelo. I'm in Seattle, and we are discussing an African proverb from South Sudan, and I would love to hear what comes to your mind when you hear this proverb. Every day we gather here, and we have this conversation called Daily African Proverbs, and we discuss African proverbs with the hopes that we gain African wisdom. So I'm just excited that you're here. What comes to your mind when you hear this proverb?
Okay, when I hear the proverb, what comes to mind is patience. It means everything takes time. Every good thing you want to do takes time. You can't plant a crop today and expect it to grow today and then you harvest it today. It's not possible. So whatever you're trying to do, give it some time and see what comes out of it.
That's true. I think that's the theme of our conversation today, being patient with yourself and embracing the journey and not skipping, steps. So thank you, Nike, for being here. I just want to check with you, Elder, one more time before, I go to the next segment of our conversation. How are you doing, Elder? And what are your perspectives on today's proverb? Excellent. So we are going to continue on with our conversation today, and Elder will join us whenever he can. But Danny, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is okay and improving. I know that the Tigray situation has not been resolved and will take time. But I just hope that, you're doing okay and, things are getting better. And I just want you to know that I appreciate your presence today. Thank you again, brother, and Fred, and Steve, and Stella, and Kay, and Daniel, and Elder, and Nike for being on stage with us on Clubhouse. And also thank you to Karen, and Chef, and Roger, and Danny, and Mama Yama, and Martin for being with us on the Clubhouse room. It means a lot. Since we started this conversation, we've had about 36 people who have joined us on Clubhouse, and I'm just grateful, And we are discussing a South Sudanese proverb that says cows are born with ears, later they grow horns. We've learned so much. When I came to this room, at the beginning, I shared the following thoughts with the hopes that, we could learn something, and maybe these three could be some of the things we learn out of our conversation. One, I said, understand that some things take time, and it's okay to take a step back and assess the situation before you make a decision or a choice. Number two, don't be so hard on yourself, but instead be mindful of your thoughts and your actions. And number three, embrace the journey by practicing self-compassion and finding ways to distract yourself from impatience. So, you all shared amazing insights, and I learned so much, and I just want to thank you. And I feel that this is a good time for us to wrap up our session today. Tomorrow, my guest is going to be Chioma Sheri. She's a poet, and she takes the proverb that we pick, and she also turns it into a poem. I always love her session. So every Wednesday, but also tomorrow, we are going to do a giveaway for Rooted in Love, which is my first book that was released last Monday. So tomorrow we are giving away 2 books here during the Daily African Proverb, so you don't want to miss it. And please spread the word so that tomorrow we can have maybe double the number that we have today of attendees on Clubhouse, so that more people have an opportunity to get the books, but also so that we can begin intentionally growing our community here. So I want to encourage you, if you're on Clubhouse, tomorrow come with one more person, come with one more person, either who is on Clubhouse or who is not on Clubhouse. And, that way we can slowly build an engaged community of people that support, this space. And then I also want to encourage you to check out my Linktree. It's, on my Instagram and Twitter. And when you do, take a look at Rooted in Love, which is my latest book. I want you to, get the hardcover copy or get the e-copy of the book, and let me know what you think. If you want a signed one, you can DM me here on Clubhouse or on Instagram, and I'll be able to figure out how to ship it to you. So thank you again so much, and with that, I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day if you are here in the US, and also if you are in Kenya, I wish you a beautiful, beautiful evening. If you're in other parts of the world, thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it. Have a beautiful, beautiful one.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington.